Harris is in, that it has made the former president angry and a little off his game. And people have, said that he's been rambling in some of his recent speeches. He's getting criticized for that. Is he off his game right now?
Well, he's not off his game. But
that was Fox interviewing Corey Lewandowski, who has once again joined the Trump campaign. He previously entered into a plea agreement after engaging in unwanted sexual advances and touching of a Trump donor's wife. But you hear Fox there talking about how Donald Trump lately is becoming more unhinged, less disciplined, and not talking about policy and engaging in personal attacks. Really? It's kind of what Donald Trump does his entire life and what he's always done. But okay, Fox. But look, Donald Trump may be becoming even more unhinged, if that was even ever possible, because he's declining more and more in the polls each and every day. And Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Walz keep picking up momentum. I mean, look, just take a look at the Economist polling average. What's notable is that the poll has become inverted over the past 3 weeks. Per the Economist polling average, Trump is now polling exactly where President Biden was when President Biden left the race. Vice President Kamala Harris is polling exactly where Donald Trump was when Biden left the race. As my friend Mike Madrid, well-known political consultant and strategist, writes, a remarkable change indeed. Now, Donald Trump is also losing significantly in his favorite election betting site, Polymarket. He used to post the Polymarket results each and every day. Well, he's now trailing by more than 10 percentage points there. Vice President Kamala Harris is the clear favorite there of who's expected to win the 2024 election. But look, don't listen to these betting sites and don't focus on the polls. Let's just focus on policy, what these candidates are actually saying and doing, because I think that their behavior, their conduct, their character, their proposals is something that matters most. So Vice President Kamala Harris laid out in detail her economic plan to create 3 million new affordable houses during her term in office. She talked about going after price gouging corporations. She talked about expanding the child tax credit that she and President Biden had implemented, but that Republicans have blocked the extension of that child tax credit. By the way, when that came up for a vote recently in the Senate, J.D. Vance couldn't even be bothered to show up for the vote, and Republicans voted to block it, the same way Republicans in the Senate have voted to block protections on IVF, and Republicans in the Senate have voted to block protections on keeping contraceptions legal. That just should tell you everything you need to know. So she rolled out a very detailed plan. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has spent his time whining about Hillary Clinton's emails. Donald Trump whining that he's apparently speaking in front of his exclusive country club. That's bothering him. He's letting everybody know the sacrifice he's had to make, that he's no longer even really going on many campaign stops, but he just speaks at his private country clubs. And what really pisses Donald Trump off, and he wants to make this a centerpiece of his campaign, is that Vice President Kamala Harris was on the front page of Time magazine, and it was a drawing and not a photo. That really bothers Donald Trump. So just take a quick look at the contrast here. Here's Donald Trump still whining about Hillary Clinton's emails. Play the clip.
And I've said this a few times, not too much, but with Hillary, she was subpoenaed by Congress to give everything she's got, and she burned it, she acid washed it, bleach bit they call it, she totally scrubbed it, and then they...
Here's Donald Trump speaking in front of his country club, saying that he had to give this up when he's there right now, and he's giving a speech about the economy and trying to sow fear and chaos in the economy while he's speaking from his country club. Here, play this clip.
Early enough, I gave up that life for a life of politics. I gave up all of these beautiful places that I have all over the world for a life of being abused by the fake news media.
And here's Donald Trump, again, very angry about Vice President Kamala Harris's cover on Time magazine. Here, play this clip.
And when they find out, I think you're going to see something. But right now, even not knowing her, and with all of the, like the cover of Time magazine, They didn't put a picture. They got a great artist to do it. What was that all about? You know, what was that all about? The whole thing is crazy.
I mean, look, I've done other recaps of that, so I don't need to show you the dozens of other clips, but that's basically what he spends his entire time talking about. And you go back 2 years ago when he relaunched his campaign, he did it on the 30th anniversary of the Waco siege in Waco, Texas, and he led off by the J6th Choir song, which replaced the national anthem at Donald Trump events. Yes, he's replaced the national anthem with the J6 Choir song. He now sells American flags with his name on it. He puts Trump on the American flag. And then his guest speakers who speak before he speaks at these traveling fascist circus events that Donald Trump calls rallies are people like Ted Nugent, who Donald Trump reposts over and over again. And Ted Nugent says things like this. So when people are trying to say, oh, well, lately things have been going off the rails. No, this is how it's always been. When Donald Trump launched his campaign, the first speaker before him, Ted Nugent, said this. Here, play this clip.
I want my money back. I didn't authorize any money to Ukraine to some homosexual weirdo. I want my money back.
Okay, on the other hand, here's Vice President Kamala Harris speaking in North Carolina on Friday. Here, play this clip.
And by the end of my first term, we will end America's housing shortage by building 3 million new homes and rentals that are affordable for the middle class. And we will do that together. We will do that together. And we will make sure those homes actually go to working and middle class Americans, not just investors. Because, you know, some corporate landlords, some of them buy dozens, if not hundreds of houses and apartments. Then they turn them around and rent them out at extremely high prices. And it can make it impossible then for regular people to be able to buy or even rent a home. Some corporate landlords collude with each other to set artificially high rental prices, often using algorithms in price-fixing software to do it. It's anti-competitive and it drives up costs. I will fight for a law that cracks down on these practices.
So then Donald Trump sent J.D. Vance to try to do some cleanup for him after Donald Trump attacked veterans and said that the award that he gave to a billionaire donor of his was a much better award than veterans receive and those who were killed while fighting for our country receive posthumously. He goes, much better award that he gave to this billionaire donor because she's much prettier and looks better than our veterans. So J.D. Vance is asked about it. Here's what J.D. Vance says. Play this clip.
We'll do one more then.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Senator. I wanted to ask you, Trump has been getting attacked from his comments at the press conference yesterday about what he said about the top military honor. And veterans have pointed out that, he said that the civilian presidential honor is better than what wounded veterans have received. And I wondered, what do you say to veterans who think that's demeaning?
Well, look, I was with a group of veterans in Pennsylvania yesterday, and trust me, the veteran community is very, very much behind Donald Trump. So, look, what I would say to people is, look, what President Trump said during a ceremony, and I haven't seen the entire remarks, but my understanding is President Trump said during a ceremony that a person who received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, he was saying some nice things about her. He was saying some complimentary things about her. Donald Trump, I've seen give out a Congressional Medal of Honor. I've seen him give out a number of awards and commendations to military veterans. And, of course, I myself am a Marine Corps veteran of the Iraq War. This is a guy who loves our veterans and who honors our veterans. I don't think him complimenting and saying a nice word about a person who received the Presidential Medal of Freedom is in any way denigrating those who received military honors. They're two different awards, and I think the president was saying some nice things about a person that he liked, and that's a totally reasonable thing to do. All right.
Then it's obvious J.D. Vance has never even seen the movie Gangs of New York, but he compares prior immigration movements in our country to the gangs of New York. And tell me if you even understand what he's trying to say here. Play this clip.
Okay. Sir.
Senator Vance, Chris Cameron at the New York Times, you were talking about the relationship between crime and immigration, and my question is on that issue.
Please.
In an interview when you were running for Senate in September 2021, you were speaking with Jack Murphy, and you were talking about previous waves of immigration to the United States. You said the following: you had this massive wave of primarily Italian, Irish, and German immigration, and that had its problems and that had its consequences. You pointed to these problems as being higher crime rates, ethnic enclaves, and inter-ethnic conflict. Should the United States have prescribed similar policies to what you're proposing now, including mass deportation, to deal with those issues?
Well, first of all, I also said there were a lot of benefits to that wave of immigration. But has anybody ever seen the movie Gangs of New York? That's what I'm talking about. We know that when you have these massive ethnic enclaves forming in our country, it can sometimes lead to higher crime rates.
And by the way, I just found this small little encounter very interesting. Here's J.D. Vance having to bring his dog into, with him because he's so unpopular that he has to show his dog. Maybe he'll get more popular. Here, play this clip. By the way, J.D. Vance was asked about the fact that much more people like Governor Walz than him. And watch what his response was. Here, play the clip.
Sorry.
It's okay. A new ABC Ipsos poll was out today. It shows that Governor Walz, Vice President Harris's running mate, has a higher favorability among Americans than you do. What's your response to that poll? And also, what can you do ahead of the October debate to try to win over more Americans and your campaign?
Well, look, I don't put much stock in polls, especially at this early level. I think Governor Walz was nominated just a couple of weeks ago. He's received a ridiculous media honeymoon where a lot of press have hidden some of the things that he said and done.
On the other hand, here's Governor Walz's first TikTok. You can see it right here with his dog. Here, play this clip.
Hey everybody, Tim here with Scout at the dog park along the Mississippi, doing our first entry into TikTok, or as he and I say, Tim Talk. Right, Scout?
MeidasTouch is brought to you by bookshop.org. You may be watching or listening to our show right now, but are you reading enough? It's time to dive back into books and conquer that reading goal you set for yourself this year with bookshop.org. There are so many great books out right now that help you make sense of this moment. Or maybe you just want to get away from the political noise and unwind with a good novel. Bookshop.org has just the book you're looking for. Bookshop.org is unapologetically anti-Amazon. Why? Because when you purchase from bookshop.org, you're supporting local independent bookstores so they'll be around for all of us to enjoy in the future. They're committed to helping independent bookstores not just survive, but thrive and continue to foster culture, curiosity, and a love of reading in your community. Bookshop.org has raised over $30 million from local bookstores. You can even pick which bookstore you want to support, whether it's your local bookstore or your hometown favorite. Bookshop.org is truly for everyone who loves to read and knows the power of a good book. I just finished reading The Attributes, 25 Hidden Drivers of Optimal Performance by Rich Diviney, and I cannot recommend it enough. This is one of Bookshop.org's bestsellers, and after reading through it, I totally understand why. Start feeling good about where you buy books. Use code Meidas to get 10% off your next order at bookshop.org. That's code Meidas, M-E-I-D-A-S, to get 10% off at bookshop.org.
By the way, if you just take a look at some of the comments on Governor Walz's TikTok, there are comments like this. Tim Talk, man, this is legitimately the first time as a Gen Z voter I've been able to feel hopeful. Welcome, Tim Walz. You're awesome. Hey, American Dad. They're all comments like that have tens of thousands of likes. And then on the other hand, when it comes to JD Vance's TikTok, all the comments are like this. It was all... It's more couch jokes. JD Vance gives off cover your drink around him at the bar vibes. JD Vance social media team. The good news is your first video is getting a lot of engagement. JD Vance is the reason some people cover their couches with plastic coverings. Those seem to be a lot of the comments regarding JD Vance. I previously covered a lot of these emails that Donald Trump sends, and as I described them, they're a combination of like stalking emails, they're a combination of like love bombing, and also just like making threats over and over again. Trump sends these emails every 90 minutes, although sometimes within an hour, he sends multiple ones, and they're like, Ben, you're the one who inspired me to make this shirt. And it's like a weird shirt with like his fist up that looks really ugly. And then he like says, Ben, what time should we pick you up? And they say, you've been awarded a free trip on Donald Trump's airplane. When can we pick you up? Just click here to claim your free trip. Then it's like not a free trip. Or Ben, please, I must meet you right now. I'm ready to meet. Just click this link and I'll meet you. Or Donald Trump saying, I'll be making a jaw-dropping announcement, but I need to speak directly to you, Ben. Please let me speak to you. I just want to compare that, though, to you got President Biden's post right here, which is just funny. President Biden goes, this is after he's signing, into law some major legislation. He just goes, very demure, very elegant, which is a TikTok trend. Donald Trump's stock continues to decline right now. It dropped another 2% on Friday. That's not going good. Let me just share this with you right here. This is a veteran right here. And here's what this veteran has to say about what Donald Trump disgracing the military, attacking veterans meant to him. Here, play this clip.
Hey everybody, this is Ted. I'm actually making this video from vacation right now, and I can't believe I'm actually doing this, but I need to say something. The disrespect and the vile comments that Trump keeps on making about veterans is enough. If you care anything about the service people that have fought and died for this country, and the crap coming out of his mouth, you get out and vote. Enough is enough. The men and women who have died for this country don't deserve the disrespect from somebody like him. In order to win a Congressional Medal of Honor, you either have to die or be severely injured in a heroic act. Something that this former president knows nothing about. So I ask you to look inside yourself and think about what it really means to be an American and to go and put your life on the line. I've had enough. No more Mr. Nice Guy. You're hearing me? Give it like it is. No more. I'm sick and tired of hearing disparaging remarks. I'm sick and tired of people defending it. Oh, that's not what he meant. That's not what he said. That's exactly what he said. And you know that. And if you try to go and gaslight the rest of us, shame on you. Shame on you and shame on him.
Here's a local Pennsylvania GOP official. Let's play this clip.
The bylaws, and correct me if I'm wrong on the technical aspects here, but the bylaws for the county, Pennsylvania Republican committees say that committee members are supposed to support the endorsed ticket. I think you're facing a disciplinary hearing over this. Should you lose your position? Will you lose your position?
So the hearing is Monday at 6 p.m. via Zoom. I do anticipate that I am going to lose that hearing, and I will be ousted because I broke the bylaws. By endorsing Vice President Harris for office. I've been pretty open and honest about that. Listen, I said that I would do my job as an elected committee person until 2026 with my message of we got to move away from Trump. So I'm going to continue to do that. until they kick me out. And my argument is I didn't commit 34 felonies. I haven't disrespected our veterans, and I didn't drag our country through one of the darkest days in American history. So if I broke a bylaw and you want to kick me out for that, that's fine with me.
We'll certainly be watching on Monday. Matt McCaffrey, really appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
By the way, this has been the best week for the Dow and S&P and NASDAQ since November 2023. So what are the MAGA Republicans doing right now? Again, they're just spreading their lies. They're calling Governor Walz Tampon Tim and saying that Governor Walz is putting tampons in boys' bathrooms or something like that. As Daniel Dale did a fact check, I got in touch with all 10 school districts around Minnesota. All 10 said their schools do not provide tampons in boys' bathrooms because the law signed by Governor Tim Walz does not actually require schools to provide tampons in boys' bathrooms. So just, again, it's more lies from MAGA, just trying to, I don't know, stoke weird culture wars. You got Lauren Boebert saying Kamala isn't even trying to hide the Marxism anymore. I'll take the Constitution over the manifesto. As my brother Brett said, stay in school, kids, please. Stay in school. Mark Cuban writes, and my favorite, of course, did anyone hear Vice President say that she was going to bring transparency to pharmacy and healthcare middlemen? The root cause of almost all that is wrong is healthcare pricing. Let me share this with you. Another clip from Vice President Kamala Harris's speech right here, where again, she's laying out in detail her plans and policies. Here, play this clip.
And together with President Biden, we've gone even further. We capped the price of insulin at $35 a month, and the total cost of prescription drugs at $2,000 a year for seniors. We let Medicare negotiate lower drug prices for seniors. And just yesterday, we announced that we are lowering the price by up to 80% for 10 more life-saving drugs. And I pledge to continue this progress. I'll lower the cost of insulin and prescription drugs for everyone with your support, not only our seniors. And demand transparency from the middlemen who operate between Big Pharma and the insurance companies who use opaque practices to raise your drug prices and profit off your need for medicine. 2 months ago, I announced that medical debt will no longer be used against your credit score. And I will work as president with states like here in North Carolina, Roy Cooper, thank you again, to cancel medical debt for more and more, millions more Americans. As for Donald Trump, well, he wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act, which 45 million Americans rely on. 45 million Americans rely on it for health care. That would take us back to a time when insurance companies could deny people with pre-existing conditions. We all remember what that was. And we're not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. And remember, and this is why we're not going back, because we do remember, he tried to cut Medicare every year he was president, threatening a program that tens of millions of seniors count on. And according to his Project 2025 agenda, he intends to undo our work to bring down prescription drugs, the cost of prescription drugs, and insulin costs. Well, we've come too far to let that happen.
Worth noting as well, and hat tip to the Patriot Takes account for finding this, Laura Ingraham, who's been shooting Fox she's been shooting at home, noticed that she steps on the American flag, and as she records on Fox, she's quite literally has her shoes on the American flag. Here, play this clip.
Okay, we have a new camera tonight. Do you think it's gonna work? I have the best in the business who just set up this entirely new system. Don't look at the dust on the floor, the cans of soda. But we're very excited. I think we actually have the teleprompter set right. But if not, I'll just do hand puppets. I'm sure that'll totally explain what happened at the Hunter Biden trial today. Bye.
Let me just share this with you as well. This is the high school where Governor Walz taught at. And here is the Mankato West High School alum students for Governor Tim Walz, and they held a press conference about what a great guy he is. I just thought this was a touching moment. Here, play this clip.
I would say that 9 out of 10 people said Tim Walz is my favorite teacher. And the other one, they probably never took geography. And I think that's an important thing to say, because at Mankato West at the time, we had a ton of great teachers. We had a ton of great teachers at the time. I think we're all very thankful for that. Mankato, it's a great public school system, and that really showed. And Tim and Gwen both really right at the top. And I remember that class reunion, even talking to students who politically disagree with Mr. Walz. They all said, great teacher, great coach, great guy, great character. And I think that that's a reoccurring theme of pretty much everybody that I've talked to from high school. And as a football coach, man, the energy, the big Walz energy, the energy that he would bring, you see a lot of that when he gives a speech that goes viral. We were seeing those speeches back in 2000, 2001 with him trying to hype up the defensive line. It was really fantastic. You see those slivers of his personality come out, and it's really fantastic. And one of the things that I wanted to say, one story that I have of Mr. Coach Walz was my junior year. I didn't start on varsity. I was second string, but he always made sure that, we wanted to win, but he always made sure if there was an opportunity for somebody who didn't get in very often, that they could get in. And I remember our first game of the season, we were down, and Coach Walz brings me over and he goes, Hood, what's the score? And I'm like, 0-34, we're down. He goes, all right, you can get in there. And 2 plays later, I got my first tackle. And I'm pretty sure the guy ran into me. I don't know if you call it a tackle, but I got credited for it. But he was that type of coach, right? He was always looking out to make sure that some of the younger guys were able to get their reps in and really get their practice in. And I always really, really appreciate him for that. Tim Walz, here's the thing. I think that when you reach the level of success that Tim has, I think it can go to a lot of people's heads. And I can tell you right now that the Tim Walz that I knew in 2000, 2001 is the same Tim Walz that you see today.
Well, folks, tell me what you think below. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram @MeidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.